Kris, thanks for speaking with us. If we want to, I guess, your general comments on the game, thoughts on how the game went. It was really hot starting out, and then of course with Chicago really packing midfield and then making the halftime adjustments. How do you think the overall match went from start to finish?
Outside of maybe the first 10 minutes, I thought we were really good. First 10 minutes, too timid, too reactive. Um, I hate the fact that a goal goes in and people are holding their hands up and looking around as if they're confused as to why a cross happened. But I think after that point, we started to get back to ourselves and did pretty well. Ended the half well. It would have been great to have gotten a goal earlier because I think that changes the dynamic of, they're now up at halftime, bringing on Mal and Danny, and that's a great place for them to be. Whereas we're having to chase it now, and they've got someone in Mal who can delay and take pressure off of her team and allow them to move forward at a much more controlled pace. And so, I thought, again, we got through the opening stages of the second half. Started really, really well and then lost a little momentum and then came back in. But certainly created enough chances to win. We played the way that we wanted to play. I said our press was going to be a big factor over against their build out. And I think at the times that we did that really well, we showed that. We won the ball. We were able to win it without exerting a lot of energy. The heat was certainly a factor. The heat crushed some people. But overall, again, I think outside of the first 10 minutes of the game, they did a fantastic job. And I give all the credit in the world to people like Karina Rodriguez, who hasn't gotten a lot of playing time, and plays 85 at not her normal position, plays an exceptional game, runs her socks off until the point where she can't run anymore. Anna Helferty, did a great job as well, the same. So I'm really, really proud of a lot of them. It's just an unfortunate way to start the game because it puts you in a hole.
Yeah, definitely. Having said that, there was a really good fight back to get a goal. Sam Staub had that header, but then also after that, it seems like the team was really pushing, and it also happened with some younger players on the pitch, and Elwell, Alexander, Goff, and of course Bailey Feist came in as well. And you kind of assess their performance in that limited spurt, but it almost looked like they were more likely to get a goal the way that they were playing towards the end.
Yeah, some of them were great. It's been a really up and down 24 hours for Morgan Goff. We had conversations about her starting yesterday, and then we make the decision to start Karina instead, and it's a difficult thing to be and to accept. And then she has to come in and ends up playing two different positions, and I think she did a great job. She brings the energy, she brings the fight and the hustle that we need, and it doesn't matter where she is on the field. And so I give her a bunch of credit for just the way that she handled it, being on that roller coaster of emotions, and then being asked to go into a game when you're chasing it and bring energy and try and contribute to a goal. And, I thought she was great in that. Maddie Elwell. I love Maddie Elwell. I can't wait until she's 90 minutes fit. That's where we're bringing her along to a place where we feel like, she can make that same kind of impact over 90 minutes. And once that happens, I think everyone will get to see what I've seen in her for, frankly, the last 2 years. So a lot of credit to those two in particular. Yeah, it was, they gave us the boost that we needed at the time that we needed. And so I'm happy with what they all did.
Appreciate it. I'll step back while if anybody else has some questions. If not, I have one more.
I'm not seeing any hands, Steph or Thomas, before we go back to Andre.
All right, I'll go for it. This is, of course, this has been a brutal stretch. So keeping that in mind, to me, that's where this question really comes from, and that is the answer. But I have to ask you, this is the fourth consecutive draw for the Spirit. We know, the way the match happened against Orlando was really unfortunate. We know that in this match, End up getting the equalizer quite late when it perhaps if you get it earlier, you can get another goal. Is this more obviously the easy answer, I guess, or the obvious answer is fatigue, but how do you assess kind of where the team is with these 4 consecutive draws? Just surviving or more to it?
Portland was tough, and I feel like we did enough to win. It was a chaotic game. We didn't play our best game, but I'm proud of the performance that the team put in that moment. I've seen the referee's decision on the offside call for Sonnet. I think it's one of those things that it can go either way. On that day, it went against us. On other days, it could go for us. I'm not going to quibble over that, but I think that we did enough to win that game. Seattle, we were poor, just poor, and so that is what it is. To get out of there with a point, we'll take that at this point in time. But the last game we played, we played well in stretches. We didn't play well for 94 minutes, but we played well in stretches. And, to not get a win there was disappointing. But from a team development standpoint as to how we want to build, what kind of things we need to look at, I think there were some really, really good moments from us in that game that shows us, the coaching staff, a growth along the game model. Which is what I'm concerned about in the short term. Results are going to be what they're going to be. You look at the fact that we've got 9 people out injured and more than half of them are starters. We talked about what this team could do and the test of the depth and all that kind of stuff. And you're seeing, okay, maybe it's at this point, it's only good enough to get a draw. And maybe there's some changes that need to be made in order to tweak that a little bit. But it's just an assessment for us to say, okay, we're setting ourselves up for the middle third and the final third of the season to be in a good position where everyone's firing in all cylinders. And we can do really well. I think tonight was another extension of that. Barring the first 10 minutes, there were some really, really positive things, and I think the team can take a lot of positives away from that. I think it comes down to a little bit of quality at times, a little bit of luck at times. You got to wonder if the game's called a little bit differently, things go our way. But from what they were trying to do, even from a standpoint of, it's Karina was not our first choice right back. Both Kelly, Cam, all these people are out injured. She stepped up in a major way. And so for her to be in a position to execute on the game model and to do such a good job, because I really do think she did quite a good job, it's more growth from my mind, which I'm happy with. Again, I think we did enough to get all 3 points tonight. We hit the post a couple of times, had a couple blocked down. Things didn't fall our way. That happens sometimes, and unfortunately it's happening in a run of games for us right now. But last year we got all those calls, we got all those breaks, and so it's just a different run for us right now. So I'm fairly happy with the overall performance of the team and the growth throughout where we were in preseason, especially given the fact that there's so many people out and the difference in quality sometimes between someone like Kelly, who's played in multiple World Cups and Olympics, versus someone like Anna or Karina, who are still very much starting their professional careers, and they're doing a good job, but there is a difference in quality. And so in the end, that makes the difference sometimes. I think it's positive. I think we got to go and continue to take another step now. I'm happy that the next 2 games are on grass. I think that alleviates a lot of burdens on a lot of people. And so we're just going to keep, building on the positives and doing what we can.
Appreciate it. And I have one more question, if that's okay. Today, I guess, opened the transfer window. I know a lot of the injuries that the team has aren't long term, so you are anticipating getting some players back throughout, the coming weeks and months. But have you had any conversations about bringing in any players, perhaps?
Without giving away too much, yes. Um, there have been some different conversations, both international players and players within the league. It's still a little early. I don't think we're down the trail on any of them, but there have been conversations, yes. The good and the bad news is, out of all the people who are out injured, I'm hoping that we get them all back at the end of June. That doesn't help us with the 4 games in the next 12 days, but we get them all back at the end of June. And so going into July, it'll be a much different thing. And then we get our break, and hopefully at that point in time, from August on, we have an ability to really fly, to really challenge each other to get to a new level and be healthy and be in a really positive space.
Appreciate it. Thank you.